too.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
I can see you too again, man. Love the mustache.
My daughters did it.
Did they?
Yeah, I woke up in the morning and I shouldn't let them have
I hate when
crazy.
that happens. Yeah. It's a dangerous game. For sure, my brothers have that mustache. What's weird is that
They don't have the horseshoe, do they?
they do. Yeah, it's it's a firefighter thing.
Oh, good. I should call it that instead of the porn stash.
Both work, but apparently it's like a function of how long you've been in the department, like the length of your stash.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh man, I've been around a while. That's good. Okay,
Showing up.
firefighter.
Yeah, man. So what's new? What have you been working on recently?
So we're big into right now. This entrepreneurial operating system. I don't know if you're hip to that.
No.
So it's a way to run a business of our size up to thousands of employees, and it just gives you some real scalable, easy to handle tools to run the main components of a company. What are the main components? I'd say are, the people and the vision.
Yeah.
Get the people to align to the vision. So, been excited about that. And why I'm excited about that is because it's once that's in place and, we are no longer, we're hiring out, all the COO positions, CMO positions. Once we're out of the picture, Tom and I can get back to doing what we did, 12 years ago, and that was innovate. And that's what we do best. So I'm looking forward to getting back to innovating.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah.
What are some things that
You're
you're
about the fruit flies they have at this place.
Oh, yeah, me too. What are some of the things you're excited about innovating? Like what's on the horizon?
The list is too long. I'll give you some hints though. On the Knox gear side of things, we are looking forward to getting back into the well, really what got Knox gear started 12, 13 years ago. Do you remember what that was with the whole idea behind Knox gear?
Yeah.
Night games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I think I'm looking forward to that. It's we've got elements in wearable AI, AI for software. We are going for those low hanging fruit products. We've got the launch of another chest lamp, a waist lamp, just things in the traditional Knox gear space. But all that said, it's like these really new markets that we're going after. That's on the horizon.
Nice, man. Yeah, if I think about something that I'm bullish on in like the increasingly uncertain future, it's that in-person events and like community things are, it's just only going to go up and be more popular. You see like run clubs, like insanely popular right now.
Oh, good.
It's like anything that's like bringing people together. I think that's huge.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's exciting me. I'll admit, we're distracted a little bit with AI. We've got a couple wearable AI products that we've got to finish getting out the pipeline, but those were a distraction. So, what are we doing now? My word going forwards is focus. Focus. Do not get distracted by, you look at CES top 100 things where, AI washing machine. What the fuck is an AI washing? Give me a break.
Right.
It's not going to do a better job at it. So we got pulled down, that hype, and now we're focusing on one thing, the core mission, and that's like bringing people together. And that's exactly what we're looking at with. We use the term night sports very loosely. Really, one of the things that the best way I can describe it is it's like Fortnite in real life.
Okay.
Like imagine Fortnite.
Yeah.
You leave your house with your friends and you're plugged in and you're walking around the neighborhood and you're playing your friends. You can hear them. You can now see them in real life. What's that next thing that you can do that you couldn't do like 30 years ago with a crappy laser tag game? That's kind of where we're headed.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Sounds super exciting.
Yeah, and it brings people together. It gets kids active again.
Yeah.
It's gets people actually talking to each other face to face. You're not going to trash talk a kid if he can come pummel you, physically.
Right,
You're gonna
right.
you're gonna watch what you say.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that's been on my mind, I've been thinking that I was on the drive up here, I was thinking about it. Um, you've got kids, I've got kids. One thing that I struggle with is in the age of AI, you see I mean, you already see AI taking certain jobs, and it's just only going to get increasingly, you know, more intelligent and more able to take even more jobs. How do you think about like telling your kids what to go into when they get to like college age and start thinking about careers? Have you thought about that at all?
I mean, I think we have a very, you know, certain set of responsibilities as parents. One of them is to look at what your kids' curiosities are and to help make sure that those are fostered so that they can develop them.
Yeah.
So the only rule I have is whether it's my kid or somebody, I'm giving advice to is you you really focus on your curiosity because if they are truly curious about something, they will unravel something that's never been unraveled before and give, the world that great creation because they were like so curious about it.
Yeah.
And it's like getting to that. That's a problem though, because I notice when I have conversations with teenagers or anybody, people don't have a sense of their own curiosity. The first thing they go to is what they think other people think they should be curious of
Mm.
or what other people are curious of, and that comes to like not knowing themselves. So that's like problem number one. So parent needs to understand what the kid is their curiosities. And that's even hard to do. Like I almost want to project my own curiosities on the kid
I know.
and you have to like listen to them and feel that and nourish it.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's tough. Yeah, my
Being a
dog.
parent, so tough. Someone
It
tried to
is.
tell me it's not hard. Like, yeah, that person who's like, I was like, hey, man, it's hard work, isn't it? He goes, it's not work. And I was like, what are you talking about? Calm down, dude. You're wrong because it is at work. I
100%.
understand that there's some joy in that, but there's work.
Yeah, yeah. If you're trying to put any intentional effort into it at all, there's work.
There's work.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's tough, man. So I've got a 12-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and
What's the spread?
I know
What a
huge,
spread.
huge
Did
spread.
it go up infinitely, like exponentially from 2 kids to 3 kids?
It did. Yeah, 100%.
That's
That third
hard.
kid was, yeah. My dad always said that there was 4 kids in our family. He's like 2 to 3. He's like after 3, he's like you just lose your sanity. So
Is that what he
I think
said?
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, this is like topic conversation for my wife and I all the time.
yeah.
I know. I know you probably went through the same conversation, but right now we're in a good spot.
Yeah,
That's two girls. We're in a good spot.
that's a good spot.
And the
Yeah,
problem is we both want more kids because you look at them and you go, the world would be more joyful with them in here
yeah,
with more kids. But those moments of like they start fighting with each other and you forget about the joy.
yeah, yeah. It goes in waves. That's what I try to tell my wife. Is like the good things and the bad things. They go by really quick. So it's like take the good with the bad and enjoy it while we can. It's not going to be forever. Yeah, but yeah. I'm a huge advocate of smart, good people having more kids. So
Yeah, smart,
yeah,
good people. But you're not so not the Elon Musk style where you have a woman in every spot like
yeah.
and as many kids.
Probably not. I think that's a little far, but
I mean, people are up for it. I'll talk to my wife about it.
right, right. Yeah, man. One thing I didn't realize it's kind of come up in the past couple months is you guys had a pretty intense IP battle with DeWalt. Was it DeWalt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Talk about that.
truly, it's like DeWalt is owned by the lawyers won't even use DeWalt's name because it's Stanley Black and Decker, I think.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say DeWalt because that's the name that's on the fucking device, right?
Right.
I think it was about 2 years ago when somebody sent the message to everybody at Knox Gear. They go, oh shit, look, and it was a perfect like it's like the same shape as our wearable 39G Bluetooth speaker, and it had the same magnetic clip that we designed, and that's what that magnetic clip's funny. We delayed the launch of that product for almost 3 years so we could refine that part of it. That's most of the IP is how do you have something wearable that has both a physical clip and a magnetic clip all built into one. So that was the original IP that we produced, but just the inside guts to our wearable speaker, that's years of finding the best components of, creating the best circuit to pump the most power through that thing. And when we opened it up and they had chosen the exact same components, same circuit design, same layout as us, everything was identical. I remember like there were so many people who were upset at the office and I was so happy. Like I was like, oh, we did something that these clowns need to copy off of us. I was like, Tom and I were both so happy to see that. Because, if you are leading and people are following, we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
That just means we're going to do that again and we'll win that battle. Even if we lose that battle, I'm happy because we were able to create something that a big company
Right.
copied. So yeah, sure, we went after them with a lawsuit. We had some lawyers give us so advice, but the real win for us, the lawsuit, was quickly we just went on to Amazon. We showed Amazon the patent. Amazon looked at the call it Stanley Black and Decker at the DeWalt speaker, and they looked at our patent, and within an hour it was gone. And it was great because that same day I get over to I'm over at my dad's house, and he's got some guys working on the house, and one of the guys is wearing the Black and Decker speaker, and I'm like, "Hey, man,
Well,
I made that." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're DeWalt." I'm like, "Don't get me started."
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be like the ultimate validation,
Yeah, it was a validation that,
Yeah.
winning the battle, the IP battle with them was nothing compared to seeing that they wanted to copy us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize that enough. It's like when you're in a position to be copied, sure, you're going to lose financially the fact that you're being copied, but you're the people that are leading while those other clowns, their job in life is to copy and follow. And they'll never be one step ahead of you because they can't. They don't have that capacity.
Right.
Yeah. So that's with any product that we are creating, we we engineer it and we obsess over it enough that we know people are going to try to follow, and even when they follow, they won't do it well
Yeah.
enough. Like their speaker was so much heavier, no one would ever consider using it for running. Sure, they're going to use it for construction. Well, they could, not anymore.
Was there any point during that where you were like, maybe at the beginning stages where you're like, the wall is so huge. What are we even doing? Trying to take them on,
Oh, let's
or just
see.
like jump right into it?
Nah, I think the second I saw that, I think when you're right, and I know in politics people say, yeah, you don't understand. You could be right and be on the right side of it, but if you go up against, let's say, the U.S. government, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're just going to get run over. But I think we knew here, it's like we're going to go after them. We're going to win this battle. I think they probably strategically, even though at the end they tried to negotiate anything with us. They said, "Hey, can we get some sort of an agreement here so we could sell the rest of our units before, And they've changed it. They've since removed the magnet, and we're still going after them because they still have the same thing. So it's a matter of time.
Yeah,
They're following. That's what happens.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's something. I mean, if you guys did it once, you could do it again. So
That's
that's
right, and we will. That's
yeah,
what we get off on, man. It's just creating new products, and you're always going to have these people following you.
yeah, for sure. Has that that whole situation, has it changed how you approach business going forward, or how do you think about that now?
Well, I mean, there's always like, there's a question of, are you going to create a product that there's a race to the bottom as far as anybody can make this, and it's just going to be the lowest. You're going to make the lowest price. Whoever has the lowest price wins. So we just don't play around in that area. And I remember we had an advisor come in, and they're like, "Well, you're doing that with these, wearable lights." And, so we go, "Hey, look, we've got all the competition laid out here, 30 pieces of competition. You can't put on any one of those and have the same quality experience as with ours. We will win the experience game. Word gets out. People enjoy, they know when they're using one of our products that everything about wearing it, forget that you're wearing it. the quality of the light spread, just everything has been obsessed over
Yeah.
that they love it. And that's what wins. And it's not the fact that there's actually a race to the bottom. That's true. There's a race to the bottom, but once you get down to the bottom, you're gonna go, oh fuck, I bought the wrong product. Now what's the real product?
Yeah.
I wasted my money on some cheap shit. I'm gonna go buy the real product that was designed right. So I think in the end, we know as long as we're creating the real thing, we're obsessing over it. People who are trying to copy off of us rarely can copy everything correctly. They don't know the true things. That's where you get into intellectual property. They don't know the real things that went into it.
Yeah.
And as long as that remains hidden or we stay a step ahead of them, keeps things exciting.
Yeah, yeah, man, no doubt. One of the litmus tests that I use when I see reviews or ads for a product on like Facebook or Instagram, I was like look through the comments real quick and see what they look like. And when I see y'all's ads on Instagram, I'll like look through the comments, and it's shockingly, like not shockingly, but just almost every single comment is very positive.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you don't see that very often, or at least I don't. It's
I mean, from day one with Nox Gear, that has been the feedback mechanism that keeps us doing what we do. We could veer off on the direction of making shitty stuff inexpensive,
yeah,
or we could remember and obsessively focus on the customer. And once we do that, I mean, that's the mission. So once you know that that's the mission, um, you can't really mess that up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, if you're making a decision and all of a sudden you go, hey, wait a second, who isn't here right now helping with this decision? The customer. All right, stop what we're doing. Let's get this out. Have the customers tell us what they think. Yeah, so that's I mean it's actually an easy company to run when you get to that point. You invite the customer.
right. You know who's making the calls.
But it's a lot of work at that point, truly though, because it's like, okay, we're at a design impasse. Let's invite the customers in, and we're talking, okay, 40 people, let's go. Diverse body types, everything's got to be different. Um, get their feedback and go back to the drawing board.
Nice.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah. So when you think about, you're talking about hiring for your position, how do you instill that in whoever you hire? Is that, it seems like that might be tough.
Oh man, hiring is hard.
Yeah.
Hiring is hard. I think the qualities of the people that we want would be, we just want to feel like the stupidest people in the room. And the second we feel like that, I think we know,
Yeah.
we've got it. Of course, they've got to have the mission. They've got to understand the core values of the company. They've got to be able to really like just recite those and embody those. At that point, though, they got to be smart. So, and they got to have that passion like that we have. So, you have to be able to evaluate passion, intelligence, and then finally, I think the last piece is integrity. And I think this is probably like a Warren Buffett idea. He's got all the best.
Yeah.
Although I think he got his from Charlie Munger. I don't know.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's like that. The passion, you need to evaluate that quickly, and then you've got the integrity. And if they don't have integrity, then they could have all the passion in the world, but they're going to screw you or somebody at your company because they don't have that integrity, and that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another Warren Buffett quote, or maybe it was Charlie Munger. I can't remember. It's basically like you have decades to build a reputation and seconds to lose it, So like if you could build Knox Gear up in 12 years, to where you guys have, and then, the wrong decision, wrong hire could tank a lot of this. So it's, like you said, very important.
Yeah, then we get into crazy, like, isn't it a weird world that you can tank anything, a reputation that quickly?
Yeah.
If there's no path back to whether in the public eye or internally within your company, if you don't have like this path of forgiveness to get back, like, okay, we fucked up. Let's, give us a chance to get back.
Yeah.
What kind of world is that? Like, so,
right.
I get that. I understand that reputations, can be ruined in an instant, but I think allowing the world needs to start allowing this cancel culture shit just kills me. It's like we put ourselves up to the world and we're full of mistakes. And one of those mistakes is going to get us canceled. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% agree. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you have the right intentions, I mean, a lot of the people that you seen getting in that position, most of them have come back from it.
Is that right? Good.
Yeah. So I think yeah, like you said, there's a way to do it if your intentions are right. And yeah, uh, thought about a funny story. A guy I used to play in a band with worked for UPS.
You played in a band? What
Yeah.
was that again? You guitar or what was?
I play bass in a band right now.
Good for you, man. Sounds fun.
It's fun, yeah, good time. This guy, he worked for UPS for 30 years, driving the regular truck. In UPS, the job you want is driving the semi. Apparently, it's like
Ah,
you work your way up to that. So he worked for 30 years on the regular truck. Finally got a shot at the semi. First day on the job, jackknifed it, trying to back it into a warehouse. Oh. It right back to the truck the next day.
no, they didn't. Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
So a real life example of that, I guess.
Yeah, it won't make that mistake twice.
Yeah.
Can't. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a shame.
Yeah. It worked out. I think he's all right. So when you think about, not doing a race to the bottom, keeping your quality high, how do you balance that with speed to the market? Getting stuff out there quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we try not to ever have that fear of missing out. I think there's whether it's an investor, feels like they're going to miss out on an investment. Well, they're not the right investor to have on the team. You can't sacrifice what you know to be the best decision for the customer for the sake of speed. Because what's that mean? Somebody else is going to, release something with the same quality that you're trying to achieve by spending more time on it. They're going to do that sooner. Well, if they did, then, you're already shit out of luck.
Right.
So don't sacrifice that quality just to get out a little bit earlier. You go for what you know is right. You get it out when it comes out, and you let the customer be the judge.
Yeah. Relentless focus.
Yeah, you're right. It's all focus.
Yeah. When you think about like that focus as a kind of a cultural touch point for Knox Gear, how are you guys fostering that on your team as it grows?
Right. So with focus, how we do that. So in entrepreneurial operating system, there's rocks, right? And then rocks are like if you're going to fill up your time, you have a jar, your jar's your capacity, your time.
Yeah.
You're going to fill those up with these rocks first, and those take up the most value, the most time. And for us, we set these company rocks, and we break those down quarterly. And so every week we have one-on-ones with the leads from every department, and we see how are they progressing towards those rocks. How are they progressing? How did they progress last week? What are they doing next week towards the overall rocks of the company? And then we have a weekly all hands. That's our L10 where we say, okay, how's everybody coming together to achieve these rocks? Let's talk about the progress we've had, and let's talk about where we're headed. Every week you do that. And the importance about that is, everybody, Moses went up on the mountain and it didn't take long for the people to go, the fuck, screw it, screw him. We're going to go do our own shit. So you give somebody direction, you walk away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you come back and you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? That's your fault. You walked away. You weren't there to keep them aligned, so these weekly check-ins with everybody, you provide that, that alignment to these rocks. And as long as you have the right people, then growth will happen. The magic happens. But at the same time, you start to see when you have folks that might not be the right match for that work, for that, position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a balance, I think. I think one of the core functions of leadership is stating reality. It's like, this is what we're working on. This is how this company exists. This is like the right stuff. And, yeah, I think that's missing in a lot of companies. It's just kind of like people putting in like managerial work without setting that vision and, reality of the situation.
Right. I mean, let's call that the corporate world, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the corporate
100%.
world, those people are semi-prisoners because they feel like they're being paid for their time, not their output. And so they need to be there, be seen. It's like, wow, that's like a prison, right? Are you in your cell? Are you over here in A block? forget that. It's really about, are you producing work that is of value? And if a company's measuring you by if you're seen and you're around and you look like you're doing work, then that's a shitty corporate culture, But
Yeah,
yeah, we just, oh, what are you going to do right now? You're going to do the gym in the middle of the day. I get it. You're going to be better, energized later when you come back in. You're going to catch people at the end of the day, and then you're going to stay after and do some nice work, when it's quiet. That I totally get that, right? And I'm not going to see you, but you're going to produce some output I'm going to see the next day or at the end of the week. That's how you measure, a company should measure.
agreed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that you're that way. I think, yeah, it's huge. It takes like the right team to make that work. But yeah, it's if you can, that's yeah, amazing.
You know what I think it takes is a set of values. So, we're big on our core values at Noxgear, and I think once you get to a company of a certain size, that it's hard to let that culture, that core value, be instilled all throughout the company. So, yeah, I think for us, I just really lean on those core values.
Yeah. What's a belief about business or life that you've maybe changed your mind on? Um, from maybe the start of the business or even in the last year. Is there anything like that that comes to mind?
Oh my God. I think if I'm not changing my mind on something, uh, then something is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think part of a joke, some of the guys are like, I wonder what books Tom, they're like, I wonder what book Tom or Simon are they're reading right now or listening to, because that's like, let's get on the other side of the whiplash. We're going to be flipping around. Um, yeah. Okay. So what was the question?
Something you've changed your mind on, like
Mm.
a deeply held belief.
Yeah. So I find most of my excitement, if Mike, imagine this, I'm going to relax. What am I going to do to relax? I'm going to work out. What am I going to listen to when I'm working out? I'm going to look for the person I least want to listen to on a podcast, talk. So, I'm hard over, let's say, on, um, Tucker Carlson, and then I hear somebody who has opposing views and choose him out like Pierce Morgan, and then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Now somebody says um, Tucker Carlson doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Who's that? Can I get a long interview of that person? I'm going to listen to them talk for an hour and a half. I seek that out. Like,
Yeah.
I want to hear what I thought was right be turned into, oh no, you're wrong. That to me is like the most exciting. It's because if I get to do that at work, that gets me the best result.
Yeah.
I get to say, what do I think I know right now that I'm wrong about? I'm excited. I just learned something new. Next year is going to be better. When I get to do that, like with my personal life,
Yeah.
as long as long as I don't hold that as like um, part of me that once it's chipped away, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Then it's got to be one of the most exciting
Yeah.
things. And that's when I try to explain that to somebody else. They're like, they listen to me and they say, okay, you just said some very liberal person. I like you listen to them. Oh yeah, that guy's liberal too. And then you mentioned someone conservative. They're like, the fuck is wrong with you? Or you go the other way. They're like, oh yeah, Tucker Carlson, cool. You listen to them. And then you mention someone liberal. They're like, how the fuck can you listen to that person?
Yeah.
You're like, you've got a problem, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you've definitely got a
100%.
problem.
Yeah. I wish more people were like you, man. I feel like that's one of the core issues with this, a lot of countries today, not just ours. Just like people get in these echo chambers,
Yeah.
it just becomes part of their belief system.
But it's so hard not to.
It
Like,
is.
even
It's very hard.
I catch that. For me, it's like from day to day. Because I'll listen to a Tucker Carlson interview, and I was like, oh, I had it all wrong. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's amazing. But then I'll listen to somebody else, like a Zelensky interview with Lex Friedman,
Yeah.
and I'll hear, oh wait, Tucker didn't mention that that's part of martial law that was in there. He just passed it off as if Zelensky had made a decision, and it was actually part of the martial law that was part of Congress. But then you find out, well, actually, maybe Zelensky had something to do with it after all. And you just keep going. And
Yeah.
every day you want to be like, oh, I got this now. And I can't believe that guy's like that. And then you listen to the other side, but you have to seek out the thing that, like, is the opposite of what you want. Being prepared for like, it's like being thrilled by a Band-Aid being pulled off. Like, you know what I'm looking forward to is pulling a Band-Aid off right now and having that arm hair rip. You have to like look forward to that.
Yeah.
See that out and get excitement out of that.
Yeah, just be a little masochistic at the end of the day.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Let's call it people enjoy ice baths.
100%, man. I'm one of those people. There's something wrong with me. But
That-
have you ever done it? Do you do
The
cold
cold
plunges?
plunge?
Yeah.
I've done it enough to know why I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do not. Do you own a cold
I
plunge?
don't own one. I've been thinking about building one at my house, but
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
everyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though my only drawback to the any sort of cold plunge is it revs me up and like nothing else.
Yep.
But I just can't get over the midday, like kind of like right now,
Mhm.
the drop that happens.
Yeah.
Like if I cold plunge, the first half of my day is banging. The second half of my day, I start to really taper off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for me, I kind of keep it an even keel.
Yeah. I found the same thing. If I used to do it in the morning, and like you said, like for, 4 to 6 hours after,
Buzz
it's
it.
just like, yeah, it's almost, yeah, it's a high of sorts. But there's also like this natural dip in brain function from like 2 to 3 p.m. and a.m. They say it's the two most quiet times in like an insane asylum is 2 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon, 2 to 3 a.m. in the night. Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
it's my life since I'm in the insane asylum. So yeah,
Quiet times.
yeah, that jives with my experience.
Right. I understand that. Yeah, the what was I gonna say? I lost it.
So we had cold plunge,
Yeah.
quiet times.
Oh yeah, so back to listening to the stuff that you don't necessarily agree with. Yeah, I think that's one of the key traits that I want to instill in my kids. Is just like, just because you don't necessarily agree with someone, don't shut that down, listen to it.
And seek it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I think you will because we're talking about our kids' curiosity.
Yeah.
Like if the thing that's underlying everything is curiosity, then they're not going to necessarily hold their belief, like it's part of them.
Yeah.
They will be curious to learn something more. And I think that for me, what it has made me is a happier person.
Mm.
I feel like people who I bump heads with on this, it's because they all of a sudden get angry at me for not being angry at somebody else. They're angry at me for not being angry at somebody else, and I should feel anger towards somebody else. And what I've come to the conclusion of, they might be right. There might be a justification to be angry at that person, maybe. But what I've learned is that 9 times out of 10, the things and the information that is given to us that makes us angry about somebody else has been totally misled.
Yep.
And so yeah, that to me is a big check-in. It's like, oh, are you trying to get me angry about something? Fuck you. I'm not going to listen to you, and I know you're
Yeah.
bullshit now. And that's
Yeah.
unfortunate because if you ever have something important to say,
Right.
I have a hard time ever believing you.
100%. Yeah. And a lot of times that stuff they want you to get angry about has no bearing over your life whatsoever.
Nothing.
It's
Yeah.
like,
That's a good point.
yeah, I don't care what someone on Fox News said about someone else that lives in California that has no bearing on what I'm going to do in the next hour or two. It's like, how would you, you're just letting them dictate your life. You can't let that happen.
But you're supposed to be so angry right now.
I know, right?
Like it's
Yeah.
hey, I'm angry. You join me, and that's the old, in psychology, it's misery loves company.
Yeah.
And I see it in my 5-year-old daughter. Right, she just emotionally, let's say she's having a bad day, but the obvious thing is like she hurts herself, stubs her toe. Well, she wants her sister to feel like shit. She wants all of us to feel like shit. She wants to bring the whole world down, and that's a juvenile,
Right.
a kid-like emotion, and she's going to grow out of that. But the people who don't grow out of it, or the people it's like refostered by, or like rekindled by these primordial feelings from, Fox News or CNN or MSNBC and all these clowns that are just trying to make us feel a certain way.
Right.
Forget that. Plus, it's a waste of time. What is the most valuable thing in this whole world? And, you could say it's your kids, but it is your kids through time,
Yeah.
because without time, you can't spend time with your kids.
Yep.
And the second somebody robs your time, by trying to have you listen to something and get upset about something, go read it and then become argumentative about it
Yeah.
and then go lash out at somebody else, that is part of your life
Yeah.
that it was spent doing the most worthless thing that you will never get back.
Never. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like the top form of wealth, in my opinion, is time. You
Mm.
know, it's the one thing we can't ever get back, and it's so precious, especially when you have kids, because there's a very short period of time in their lives where you're in a position,
Yeah.
in that position where they like love you a lot,
Yeah.
take all their direction from you, maybe
For moments.
right, right. It's just something that, very important to be intentional about. Yeah.
But I mean, let's take that and bring it back into business. It's like one of our core values of at Knox Gear is how important time is to the individual at Knox Gear. And why is that important? It's kind of like, um, you're the most important thing for me is to get whatever I need to get done so that I can go do something else that is of most value to me. And for me, it's a lot of it's work, because that's where I get the most excitement out of my life. And the other part is kids, and I'm pretty damn good at balancing the two of them. But when somebody tries to rob my time by idle chit chat, it kills me. Or trying to get me all spun up about some customer or some supplier or something that has no value, or somebody tries to rob time during a meeting.
Mhm.
It's like we're not in this meeting to do anything other than to discuss what the solution, find root cause, discuss what the solution should be. That somebody who just wants to turn that into idle chit chat is breaking a core value of the company, because everybody in that room truly has something better that they probably would prefer to be doing.
Yeah.
And we value those employees knowing that their time is best spent doing what they love to do, whether it's that person has got this idea that they're itching to go prototype real quick, or they're almost done with their work and it's halfway through the day and they want to go pick up their kid and take them to a park. Like that, both of those are 100% valid things.
Yeah.
And at the core of it is time. And then you have people who just are like, hey, come here. I'm going to present this to you, and you're going to eat my presentation for 2 hours, and you're going to get this little nugget out of it. And it's like, you just robbed my life,
Right.
most precious thing to me.
Yeah.
So value my time or anyone else at this meeting's time. And I think when you instill that like real basic core value in people, they'll check themselves. They'll be like, am I wasting this person's time? Are they wasting my time? And they'll not only become like way more productive, but they'll have a better life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So you say that you're good at balancing family and business. Have
Yeah.
you always been that way, or is that something you've had to work on intentionally?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think I became more sensitive to it. I for sure, when my wife came down with a rare form of cancer, um, reminded me. It reminded me to check in. It's like, at that point we only had one girl, and it's like, oh my God, is that girl going to know? Is my wife going to be here when that girl graduates high school, right? So then the first check in was like with my wife. Am I valuing my time with her? Am I present with her? And that was like an immediate switch back in like 2019, 2020. It was just immediate switch. I can't turn that off. When I'm around my wife, work disappears. And she hates it because she wants to talk to me about work sometimes, and she's got great ideas,
Yeah.
but that's an innate switch that flips. And I think with my girls, it's I don't know when it flipped, but it's like I'm just there totally present with them. But I know if I have to go to a meeting or something like that, but I don't dwell on what I have to go do. I am totally present with them. I don't know when that happened.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get to that point, but yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. That's a damn good question. Like when did that happen? Because, if you rewind the clock, I had many relationships where my biggest fault was all I did was work. think about work. And if I look at my dad, like my dad was a workaholic, total workaholic. And I know your dad worked his ass off. It's like
Yep.
that instills something in you. But then I think you just kind of you do the better job, and that is okay, what would they do differently if they had a second chance? And that's maybe pay more attention to these things in their life. And that just happened. Yeah.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, my yeah. Think about
Yeah.
my dad. That's yeah. I was in that boat for a long time, and I missed like the first formative years with my daughter. She was got married when I was 19, and yeah, she. I was in college for one, and then I started my career for another, and there's just a lot of things I missed because
You were around, but not quite.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, when I was there, I wasn't really there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
And
totally.
but yeah, I was very intentional about it when my 3-year-old was born. I was like, I'm not going to make that same mistake because yeah, it's so important that you're there. You know,
So it's intentional. It
yeah,
might have been me too. It might have become intentional. Yeah, after a certain point.
yeah. It's no matter how it happens, it's just important that yeah, you're
You
there.
get
So
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Maybe another thing is listening to other successful founders and um just hearing, on their deathbed, like what is the one regret anyone has? And I guarantee you,
Yeah,
they always say they have has nothing to do with that one bit of work they could have done. It's just spending time with the family.
100%. Yeah, I've heard stories about Warren Buffett. Obviously, like one of the richest men alive. They said when he was coming home when his kids were little, he would step over them, like if they were on the stairs, to go
Oh,
upstairs to work.
oh yeah.
It's like not even looking at him. It's like, yeah, sure, he's the richest guy in the world, but I don't know. I'm
I'll
pretty
think about that the next time I step over my daughter on the stairs. Sure, anything out there. But that's a good point. I mean,
Yeah.
get down to their level. It's the most important time, and
Yep.
it's just man, it's magic thinking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does it mind if I run to the restroom real quick?
yeah, go
I'm sorry. I have to quick break.
do it. You done well done? I had to ring them up, and you just taking minutes. I'll just get grateful. Thanks for the light. And is it actually a light beer or light is yeah, that's the term. Gotcha. Is it a light beer? No, I think maybe they're using the term light because it's a pilsner,
Okay.
or is it like light calories?
I don't know.
I was at the hockey stadium this weekend and I was like, what do I buy? The light or the light?
Huh.
Let's see.
Says 96.
Oh yeah, so it's a light beer. That's a 4.2. 4.2. Boy, that's light. That's like I drink 11s stouts.
Hmm.
Maybe it's because it's a pilsner.
Nice.
You done here? Oh yeah, thanks. You want more water? I'm good, thank you.
So, what kind of cancer did your wife have?
She had a rare form, not rare much anymore, of vulvar cancer, probably HPV related, which I guess 86% of us have that. But the fact that it turns into a rare form of cancer is it's an average age of 65 for cancer, and she got it at 32. It's like, but man, cancers are going up. You seen the stats on that, and she's part of that.
Shocking.
Yeah,
Can't imagine, man. It had to be
it was very
rough
weird.
time.
It was just weird because the doctors sucked. Yeah,
Really?
the doctor's like, probably from running. It's probably just a rash. Just run through it. Get some courage. And then,
What the heck?
then like after a month or two, the longer you wait, the worse because it starts to go inside of you.
Oh, right. Like metastasize and all that.
Yeah, it's like, does it make it into your lymph nodes? And once it hits your lymph node, it's going to spread through the body. So it's like a matter of time. So then finally she biopsies it. And then it was just like, that was crazy.
Yeah. And they were
Not expecting that.
yeah. Just totally cured.
Yes, yes.
Efficient.
I mean, yes, good. I might think so, but that thing is like, it can reoccur, but now we know We'll be
Yeah,
vigilant. We'll catch it early. It
that's good.
won't be like months and months and months. Stupid shit. It's like a skin cancer, basically. And same thing, you need to catch it early.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, crazy. It's a scary world, man.
Yeah. I'm sure you're keeping up to speed on like Casey means and Cali means and the whole like sugar and metabolic health and all that stuff.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah,
very makes sense,
yeah,
very interesting, and that's the world that our kids have to grow up in.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I actually wore a continuous glucose monitor for a while.
Oh yeah, what company?
Ask me too quick.
What levels was it?
Was levels?
There's levels.
Yeah,
That's Casey Means company.
yeah.
Yeah, we were.
I heard about them. Man, it was like they were very early at the time. It was a few years ago. I actually applied to work for them too at the time. It's a
Did
cool
you?
company. Yeah,
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
yeah.
I want to go work. I just like what she's doing.
Right, yeah, and I, bought the CGM and used it. It's wild, just to get that data.
Yeah,
Just, like, stuff that you wouldn't expect, like oatmeal.
I was gonna say like, what was your biggest
Oatmeal
wow?
was, like, the biggest one, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible spike. Wouldn't really think about it that much, but
Was it like I imagine it'd be like it's a spike, but it's probably a lot higher and more sustained than you thought.
exactly, yeah. One thing I was shocked about too was just, like, how much it moves when you're sleeping,
Oh wow.
Like, you'd have, like, these spikes in the middle of the night, and he's
Yeah,
like, "I'm
wait.
not eating anything."
Why it must be. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it was, yeah. It was cool, though, it's good data.
Why'd you stop?
I why did I stop? One reason I think I had like some sort of an anxiety attack during that time.
Really?
Yeah,
Related to that or not at all?
I don't think it was related to that at all. It was a weird time. I was in this really high stress job, and yeah, my dad was super sick at the time.
That's a little while ago.
Yeah, yeah, a few years
Okay.
ago, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
I ended up getting like these crazy hives
Uh-huh.
all
That's
over
what
my
your
body.
body does when it's
Yeah,
stressed.
and it's just like bad timing. But yeah, I've thought about doing it again recently, but I haven't done it yet. But
I can't imagine for you at that time, like when you're stressed, plus you've got all these new metrics for your brain to like
yeah,
psych out on and weird out
it
on.
probably didn't help.
It didn't help.
Yeah,
No, it's like,
yeah,
and that was never available years ago. It's, people like the panic mode that comes from your aura ring, your eight sleep, or
yep,
yeah, you got that.
yep.
And it's like the tracking the numbers and that how it feeds back on your anxiety.
It all adds up.
It does. Yeah. It's like it can be manageable until
Yep.
life doesn't become manageable,
Right.
and then it's yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get another water? Sorry, I didn't realize it. Thank you.
I'm good, man. Thanks. Thank God for the gym, though. It's like my therapy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't imagine
Yeah.
life without. Are you doing CrossFit
I am.
stuff now?
Yeah. Getting into it.
Surprised you haven't talked about it so much already.
I did cold plunge and do CrossFit, man. It's all
Yeah.
talk about.
Yep.
Thank goodness I'm not a vegan.
Start up, do yoga, and yeah.
It's cool. What I love the most about it is just like the community sense of community.
Thank you.
Um, which is the same with any gym you go to, with people, but it's just cool to kind of plug into people that are interested in the same thing almost immediately.
I forgot about the community from a gym because it's been 5 years since I've
Okay.
been in the gym.
Work from home or work out from home.
Yeah, the last day was the day my daughter was born. It's July 4th was when my wife and I went into the gym last. She was super pregnant, had the best workout of her life. And I was like, that's it, it's happening. And she's like, I think it is because of the nesting thing where
Yeah.
you get this surge of energy. And she was going. So yeah, she went into labor. We haven't been into a gym since. And
Wow.
I remember all the friends, the connections. Like that's another thing between that and COVID, being in the gym,
Yeah.
just talking to people, going into the office and just talking to people. My wife came in the office again it's been a long time today. She came in probably since we saw you at our picnic.
Okay.
Since my wife came in, I bet she'll be buzzing and chirping at home now that she
Yeah.
got to talk to people.
Yeah.
That's
Makes a
social.
difference.
Yeah, it's very important.
That's why I'm so, bullish on like what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I think the in-person events and live community,
Bring people together.
it's just getting ready to blow up, I think.
I'm glad you see that because it could go one way or the other. And I'm banking on it being that people want to get together.
I do too. I was listening, you know who Chris Sacca is?
No, I don't.
He's actually one of the newer.
If I'm supposed to, then yes, I do.
Um, yeah,
Yes, I know Chris.
he's one of the new Shark Tank guys, which I've never seen him on it.
Ah,
He's a VC guy
I
from.
will not watch Shark Tank anymore. Fuck them.
Oh, but
Yeah. Okay, so he's on there.
he's on there. But I was listening to an interview with him, and like that's one of the big areas he's into is just events. Like he thinks that's the future, and I 100% agree.
I mean, that's banking on the opposite of how the world's going right now,
Yeah,
which is, I think that's good. I think you need to do that.
I think so too. I think there's always like a equal and opposite reaction
Yeah.
to anything, like being chronically online. I think people are looking for a way out. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Give him a way out.
right. Kind of getting back to some of the business stuff. What patterns do you see in successful like direct to consumer businesses that others might be missing right now?
What do I see in direct consumer businesses that others might be in as far as like how other companies or other consumers?
It's kind of in general, like the market for D2C brands. Like, what are the ones that are doing it right doing?
Hmm.
What's some
Well, I think the the only thing you need to know about doing D2C, direct to consumer, correct, is to obsess on the customer experience from the moment they touch their product on the website and make that purchase. They want to hear from you. They want to know where's my package. If there's any issues with it, they want to be followed up with. They want to feel connected to the community of the people that are using your product. And then if they have any questions or any issues, they want to pick up the phone and talk to somebody and then know it's been solved. And then they want to hear regular feedback on how that solving that problem is going. Oh, it's been a week. Did you happen to are you guys working on it? And they just want regular feedback and you give that to them and you forget about 99% of all the other shit tools and everything else out there on how to do better and you focus on the customer and then you'll always make the right decision. So if somebody comes up and they're like, hey, we can reach customers better with better advertising. And then you keep asking them how. And if at the end of that, it's not like the customer that needs your product is going to be connected to your product, then you know that you don't need that service or whatever they're selling you. So it's just like it's really simple. It's fundamentals. Focus on the customer.
yeah.
Yeah, and if I can just give a good whack on so we had a couple exchanges with Dick's Sporting Goods, and we got connected to them, and the buyer from Dick's had a conversation with us where they were the least interested in us. Like you could see it looked like she was either searching for a new job during the meeting or looking at vacation
Yeah.
homes. And it was like, I felt it's like in the end, you guys came to us. Do I want to be in your store knowing how much you care about us during this meeting and the follow up after it's been total shit? So it's like, that's not if Dick's is doing that to us, wanting to bring us in the story, that's what they're probably doing to their customers.
Right.
So as far as direct to consumer, I think it's an important thing to be direct to consumer. I think stores like Dick's Sporting Goods serve a purpose, but the way they're operating them they're not focused
Yeah.
on customer anymore. And so that's ripe for disruption. There
Yeah.
needs to be a brick and mortar store, but I think companies like Dick's are losing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought about a physical store, like brick and mortar locations?
No, I don't think we've really, it doesn't, I don't think there's a need. We have, hundreds of small retail stores across the country. So if someone really is jonesing to wear it, like I think you almost get it same day from Amazon anyways, but if they're really jonesing to go get it, they can go get it somewhere and put it on. Even up in like 30 miles from the North Pole, we've got a couple stores
Really?
up in Yellowknife, Canada, and
Nice.
you can get all of our products and try them on there.
That's
I
awesome.
remember it was very recent. A customer was trying to get something for Christmas and there's some shipping issues into Canada. Oh, there's a strike. And I got on the email chain with that customer. And it's like, hey, there's a store right here in Yellowknife. It looks like it's 4 or 5 miles from you.
Nice.
Can you get there? And I gave her the directions and yeah, it worked it out.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
everyone's talking about AI, like we just talked about. But are you also seeing like this like a similar trend in hardware innovation recently? Is it like the same level of
Like, so the level advancement in AI, are you seeing similar like leaps and bounds in
yeah?
hardware advancements? No,
No.
no, I don't think so. And I think, that's understandable. It's AI's time to shine
Yeah.
right now. And who knows if there's going to be some sort of roll off or tail. I mean, I love listening to folks like Joe Rogan, come up with these ideas that that's the future is we're going to go into AI and, 50% we, not 100% we need people like him to think that because it's fully possible,
Yeah.
but also he doesn't see some of the, um, roadblocks from keeping that from happening, so if I were to play devil's advocate, I'd say there's a good chance it's going to kind of tail out or roll off a little bit.
Yeah.
AI is going to roll off a little bit, or we won't see as many huge gains that we just saw over the past few years. But at the same time, I'm happy to be wrong. I don't think the sky is going to come falling down with AI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm optimistic in that way too. It's definitely like unprecedented, I think, like as a technology
yeah,
like we've seen, but I also, I don't think it's immune to the ebbs and flows of any new technology that humankind's ever seen either. I think there's,
yeah.
like I said, there's always an equal opposite reaction, and I think there's tails like you're talking about too. So I agree. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got caught up in the hype. Like I said, we've been working on wearable AIs at
Yeah.
Knox Gear, and I'm excited about it. And I know everything we've created is ripe for taking advantage of AI when it's just a little bit better. And we're seeing the abilities for AI to get better in smaller packages. So we're ready for that to maybe go from the 5 yard line into the end zone, but it might not. There might be such good, red zone defense that it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing with AI right now. We're mainly talking about the advantages from LLMs, which are thanks to the transformer. It's this new model has really unlocked all this potential through language, and what you come to is like a philosophical question: is language the key to unlocking, artificial or general intelligence, perfect reasoning? And I think it's remains to be seen. I think you can make a case for if I wanted to solve a problem, any problem in my life, whether it's business or personal, I could probably do it by writing it out and just walking through it verbally. So, language as a necessary mechanism or a mechanism to solving any problem is potentially the reason why these LLMs could lead to such great advancements. That is, in order to do anything, you have to talk it out. It might not be the best bandwidth mechanism to achieve it. Do our brains actually verbally think through every process, or is it more of like this internal tokenized process with visual and audible kind of cues that like bubble up into the thought?
Hmm.
That's probably what it is, but can it also be achieved by just thinking through it and reasoning through it? Right now, if you try to task an LLM with doing that, it falls a little short. It's getting closer and closer, but man, when it falls short, it's silly. You're like, nah, you don't know anything.
Right. Right. Yeah. If you try to build anything with it at all, you'll find out that it's not to the point where it can replace
Yeah, yeah.
anybody.
You're like, oh, you were so close, but if I ever relied on you, I would either like I'd be fired on my job or my wife would divorce me. It's like you got so close, but you get me into trouble too with that shitty answer.
Yeah. Yeah. You hear people talk about like, oh, it's going to replace all software developers. But then, like, if you actually try to build anything that's, a decently complex app, like
Yep.
with it, totally, you get to a certain place where you'll be like typing, why did you do that? Fix it.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah,
we talked about this 2 hours ago.
that's a good point. Like the
You know?
latest best reasoning model that just came out from OpenAI. I wanted to answer a simple tax question for my friend, right?
Yep.
And and it gave me over and over. I started cussing at it, and it got better. And I finally, and I'm like, the answer like needs to be very short, and obviously that's all I'm asking for. So I'm trying to, and I ended up having to copy paste parts of its answer. So it's not always heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I find myself in the same situation where I'll be like, if I have to type more than 3 question marks, I'll be like, I need to take a step. It's like, what if I?
Although it
What?
does respond pretty well from
Yeah,
from
yeah,
getting criticized like
it
that,
does.
from cussing at it.
It does. Yeah, great.
I do have this back and forth, from the last time we talked. I was I came of age with my friend who was, ex-convict, and, he would beat me up, not physically, although kind of physically in the gym, verbally, around all the other guys. Some guys been in and out of prison. And I remember, crying, and then all of a sudden going, I got to step up my game. I can't let him hurt me, with these words. And so then I would, go back and I'd say something, and, you get this camaraderie, and you realize he's being critical of me. I'm going to be critical of him. He's semi-playful, but also it's productive. So this whole idea of criticizing in public, and I grew up with that in the gym, and we would dog on each other, right? So I accidentally took that into my work life, and I realize now, depending on your culture, you can praise in public, but you need to criticize in private.
Mm.
But then there's this, you look at Jensen, founder of NVIDIA, and he's like, no, why would I do that? I'm going to criticize everybody in public. That way it can be a valuable lesson that instantaneously everybody is going to learn. But the problem is you have to have the right people in place that can handle that, like, public criticism.
Yeah.
Personally, I want somebody to call me out the moment it happens in front of the whole world. Like, even if I'm saying anything to you that's incorrect, let the comments light up. Just, I want to see it, because I don't want to go through the world thinking I'm right about something that I'm wrong about.
Yeah. Same, man. Resilience and grit. I think are
Yeah.
the two. Yeah, you have to have these two qualities. I grew up that way too. I mean, there was no holds barred in anything.
But there comes, in order to get that resilience and grit, you do have to pass through something.
Yeah.
There's that moment where you pass through, where you go, this isn't fair. This isn't right. The world shouldn't be this way. I just, like, my 5-year-old daughter, she shouldn't have to, necessarily experience it. But when she gets on the other side of that, once you pass through it, that's that resilience and grit
Yeah,
pays off.
it does. That's the two things if I could impart any two thing, well, I'd add a third, optimism. Resilience, grit, and optimism in my kids, like that would be how the 3 things I would do if I could.
How do you impart that?
I don't know, man. It's a good question. I think about it a lot.
I do too. All today, that's all I was thinking about. Like, you had your experiences growing up, and with your father, just so many things that you can't pass on. Like, because that's an experience that you just can't pass on. But, like, finding the opportunities for them to experience something that they can grow from.
Yeah.
Isn't that hard, though?
It's tough.
Because, that experience that they have to go through is going to be painful for them, which, as a parent, you never want them
No,
to go through pain.
exactly. That's catch-22.
It is.
I think about my daughter. She had a bully in 1st grade, and my advice to her was always, just give it back. I was like, if she punches you in the chest, punch her in the chest. Realize that's controversial. My wife definitely didn't agree with it.
Good man. Well, how did it pay off? Like, does it?
Well, she never did it.
Learn.
She always cried when I told her,
Right.
and just that's not her personality.
Right.
But my 1-year-old, the other day we had some friends over, and they have a 2-year-old son. He came up to my 1-year-old sitting on the ground and took his toy from him and, like, hit him on the head. The 2-year-old did this to my son.
Okay.
Nobody stepped in. Just kind of waited to see what happened. The kid walked across the room. My 1-year-old got up, stood up, walked over to the kid, slapped him right in the face, like no emotion, just like wailed on him, took his toy and walked back over. I'm like, yes. So it's amazing. I didn't teach him that. He knows how to do it. It's like 2 totally different personalities. But it's like, how do I instill that in my daughter?
Well, I don't know. Like, I definitely don't have an answer, because, you're talking about your 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my oldest daughter also, we put kid gloves on, right?
Yep.
When they were growing up. Plus, for me, it was COVID. I was, everyone's afraid of everything. Right. That was, like, biggest mistake, of course. And then the younger kid, we took a different approach. It's like, I am not going to help you with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then that kid is way more resilient. So I think we've just talked out how to help it be more resilient.
Right.
Yeah. Take off, keep the kid gloves away. And it's the most painful thing, because as a parent, you're like, oh, you know what I just said? I need to watch my kid go suffer.
I know. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. And then when you add your wife into the mix, it's like telling your wife who carried this kid that they have to listen to the, kid or hear this kid suffer. Toy Story had a good one where the baby's like crying, and they had, I think it was Toy Story, or there was some Pixar film, and they just did this series where the kid's crying, and then the mom would like open the door, and you hear the dad in the background say, "Not yet," like close the door, let the kid cry it out.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I remember seeing that too. Yeah, it's tough, man, in the moment, but yeah, I agree. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah,
for sure.
How are we doing on time?
I think we're almost there.
Okay.
Yeah. Finish up with one more question. What you talk about the latest book that you and Tom are reading? What's a particularly good book you've read recently?
Let me turn on you first. What's a good book you've read?
Oh man, I read Never Enough by Andrew Wilkinson. It's kind of a newer book. He's a billionaire. He's a newly minted billionaire.
Good to read. Oh, I've heard of this guy.
Great book.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff, like talking about how he grew up, it's like, man, he's
tell me a little bit about him.
Talking about me.
Wilkinson.
He basically, his goal is to be the Warren Buffett of like software companies.
Okay.
So he's built this, it's called Tiny, but it's like, yeah, they own a ton of companies, and it's all under this Tiny umbrella.
Yes. I didn't realize he's made it to billionaire status, but yeah,
just recently. But yeah, book's great. Definitely recommend it.
I'm more of a podcast guy, because both time and, well, not podcast, but even like Audible books.
Yeah, same.
And I struggle with that because, of course, I'm dyslexic, and maybe that makes reading books harder. Well, it certainly makes reading books harder. But then once I read, I really I can try to put the blinders on. But no, even recently, I was trying to read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits.
Okay.
He's from here in Columbus, actually.
Is he really?
Yeah. Shout out to James Clear. So I was trying to read his book because everyone's like, you got to read the book. And I realized that's good advice to everyone who reads really well. And then I started listening to the Audible book. But it's like, I mean, there's so many ways of boiling down a book. For me, it's just kind of like, you need to say you are that person that you're trying to become. You don't you don't say, I'm trying to become this, or I'm going to do this. It is, you are now that person. So, I do not drink. Like, that would be another one. It's like, for someone who wants to quit drinking, they do not drink anymore. They're not the person that drinks. They just don't drink. That is their persona at that point, and redefining that. So I think there's something to be said about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about the gym too. I use that kind of language in my head if I'm trying to move like particularly heavy weight. Be like, yeah.
Yeah. I am the strongest guy.
I am. Yeah. I'm a unit, but it works.
Well, that does work in the gym. Yeah. That's psyching yourself up was great. I would almost pass out. It's been a long time, but when we would do crazy shit in the gym, I would almost pass out, psyching myself up, like in the, like getting my heart rate up, holding on to the bench or in the squat. My brain would just get so psyched up. Yeah, amped up, and I never would pass out. But if I got to that state just right, and I put that weight on my shoulders and I'd squat, it was like unbelievable.
That's awesome.
The weight was light. Yeah,
it's like such a mind game.
It is. Yeah.
Nice. I think that's a good place to wrap up, man. Yeah, dude. Appreciate your time. This was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for making the drive out.
Yeah.